Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. As Kenyans throng the streets to lament and express their displeasure about the high taxes and the Finance Bill 2023, as tension rises in the country and a lot of anxiety, leaders get arrested, others are killed and others getting maimed, all because Kenyans are on the streets and are telling William Ruto these taxes must come down and the cost of living must also come down. One institution begs to differ with the Kenyans who are on the streets, and they are saying that it is okay for the Kenyan government to raise taxes above the reach of the common man, despite the fact that when William Ruto was campaigning, he had promised that he would lower the cost of living. This institution is the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Because of their personal interest, they see nothing wrong with William Ruto raising the taxes. In fact, it is one of its conditions to William Ruto if William Ruto is ready to get any kind of loan from them. And of course, as we speak, you all know that William Ruto has acquired a loan from the IMF. IMF backs tax hikes as it okays another 137 billion loan from Kenya. For Kenya, the International Monetary Fund has backed the government's new controversial taxes, which are expected to worsen the raging cost of living crisis. The Bretton Woods institution says the new taxes are essential for the cash-trapped Kenya Kwanza administration to mobilize critical resources to prop up the battered economy. IMF voted for the taxes as it signed off a new $966 billion, which is equivalent to 136 billion Kenya shillings loan to the government. So I want you to imagine that when you are out there on the streets trying to fight these punitive taxes, William Ruto is playing to certain gallery. He is serving the interest, not the interest of Kenyans. Because when Kenyans were given a chance for public participation to give their views on this Finance Bill 2023, they spoke unilaterally and made their voice that we didn't want these taxes. We didn't say, for example, the loans, the controversial housing loan to be reduced, deductions from 3% to 1.5%. Kenyans said we don't want it. And it is the rule in a democratic world that the voice of the people must be heard. In this sense, William Ruto has ignored the voices of Kenyans and is now listening to the voices of the West. Let me give you certain conditions that IMF usually put forward if they have to give you loan. And IMF has a set of conditions that Kenya must adhere to before it can secure any funds. Among them, IMF demands for austerity measures, which include tax raises, spending cuts, as well as reducing the public wage bill. Now, what it means in a nutshell is that before IMF gives William Ruto administration any kind of loan, they want to know how their loan will be paid. And they give you certain conditions. Number one, you must overtax your citizens. Otherwise, they won't give you this loan. They want to ensure that their money is secured. Number two, they want a reduction in the wage bill. Wage bill here simply means that when the government has got many civil servants employed, the IMF has a condition that the government must retrench some of them. So this is just the beginning. Even as you see, as you know, people going to the streets, and you think that it's worse, the worst is still coming. Because in the wake of unemployment and hunger, IMF has given these conditions. High taxes is just but one of them. So we are approaching another level where retrenchment is looming. The reason why I'm afraid about retrenchment is one, they will be targeting the non-shareholders, those who did not vote for them. Those are not my words, but they have declared that they will only benefit those who voted for them. So when the IMF gives them the conditions that they will be retrenching, because this is the only way to reduce the wage bill, they will target the non-shareholders. The shareholders could be safe, just a few of them could be sacrificed. So ladies and gentlemen, we are fighting William Ruto, but we should also include the IMF. Kenyans have launched a social media, a kind of approach, and they are telling IMF, stop giving us loans. But you see, their voices, as usual, will not be heard. There is a lot of hypocrisy, because I have listened to Rigathi Gachagua says that when you realize that you are in a hole, you stop digging further. And in a sense, he meant that when the Kenya Kwanza realized that Uhuru Kenyatta had taken just too much loan, they promised Kenyans that they would not take any further loans. But look what is happening. They just acquired 137 billion Kenya shillings. It doesn't come without conditions. And so we will continue to suffer because William Ruto needs these loans. The most painful thing about these loans is that as we suffer with our hard-earned cash to repay this loan, they are going to get into people's pockets because there's a lot of corruption in this country. Every institution has been captured. The DCI, the courts and everything. We know that David Ndii himself, the chief economic advisor in the Kenya Kwanza team, had once revealed to the nation that there is a lot of wastage in the Kenya Kwanza regime. They are planless and the priorities are very wrong. This is the man who sits at the center of the economic recovery, the author and the finisher of the Kenya Kwanza's economic model, the bottom up, coming up and telling us that there is a lot of wastage. And he revealed further that the institutions that are supposed to check the government have not been given the powers, the control of budget, things like that. And so we will stare at this money coming here. It is getting wasted and there is nothing people can do. No wonder people are on the streets to fight, because if people sit down pretty and watch it happening, I can assure you that we are going to plunge into an economic irreducible comeback. This is the reason why you see William Ruto fighting tooth and nail. The police has been unleashed. They are trying to create tension between communities because they want this money. And they will get it through hook and crook. But Kenyans have also decided that they must go on. So IMF is not with you guys. The IMF is not with the people of Kenya. IMF is with the Ruto government because they have met the conditions. So if you are a civil servant, you better join Kenyans on the streets, because especially if you are not a shareholder, very soon you are going to be retrenched. It is painful, ladies and gentlemen. I've always said here that William Ruto is playing to the international dictates, and many people think I'm lying. Look at it. They have supported the high taxes. They don't care how you feel. Where are we headed as a country? We sit down, we will suffer. People must go and fight because we were ignored. Parliament ignored us. Everyone ignored Kenyans. The only person who is now standing with the Kenyans are Kenyans themselves and the Azimio fraternity. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.